Welcome back to the Tydirium Hangar. Happy Friday, everybody. Hope everyone is doing well. Today I want to talk to you about Fanstoys. Are they falling from grace? And I want to say that I'm starting to see less people that are Fanstoys fanboys and more people complaining about Fanstoys, oddly enough. So there's quite a few things that they've maybe slipped up on. But I do want to say, before we go any further, that I still like every release that comes out. And I want Fanstoys to do well, and I want them to be successful, but there's a handful of issues out there that affect lots of collectors, and even if it doesn't truly affect me, I'm going to talk about it. But ultimately, is Fanstoys losing their steam? Are they falling from grace? We'll discuss why coming up. Okay, so I'm going to roll into this talking about this picture here and kind of the overarching part of this discussion that you used to see Fanstoys stuff sell out right away. And there's a lot of reasons why you're going to see Fanstoys product still sitting in stock at places, Fanstoys product not moving like it used to, and is it less collector interest in the company's product? Is it the fact they're making mostly replacement products? Is it the fact they're putting out a lot of their reissues? So there's a lot of questions in there. Do we have a shrinking collecting community? So there's a lot of factors that could go into it. But one thing that can't be denied is the fact that there's a ton of Fanstoys products still available at a lot of retailers. Now, some of the lower price retailers such as Show Z sell out a lot faster of their Fanstoys product. The higher end, the higher priced ones stay in stock. And of course, that's the way you're going to see it. But even back in the day, the higher priced retailers would completely sell out of Fanstoys stock and wouldn't still have leftover, say, bugs from years ago. But knowing that it's like the economy and less collectors and a lot of factors that affect all companies, and every company is dealing with the same thing, one thing that really surprises me about Fanstoys is the fact that something like this Lupus figure isn't sold out everywhere. Because this is a figure that fans have been clamoring for a long time. And they've been wanting this figure. And the only way to get Lupus in the past was to buy somebody's first edition, first run Lupus that a lot of people complained about, and still to this day it is a dated mold, and I did my review on it, but the only way to get it was to spend $300 and sometimes $400. And with that, now it's getting reissued, and it's still pushing the $200 price point depending on where you get them. So that's still a pricey figure for a 6 or 7 year old design, but it's still a very nice looking figure on the shelf. All right, so starting out with these reissues. With these reissues come issues. And some of the things that I have heard and seen from other people were the fact that some people said that they had an issue with a hand, and I guess they got a replacement for that, and an issue with a flap on the arm breaking. Somebody said that their screw wasn't in. They were missing a screw completely. So there's been some quality concern issues, and it could only be 1.5% of them, because that's generally a manufacturing margin of error between 0.5 and 1.5 is a margin of error. So with that, that could be the situation. But just with this release alone, and I made my video, and in my comments there were a lot of people with issues that they had, and some of them got resolved. I mean, they're all going to get resolved by Fanstoys with the customer service, but it is frustrating. But they did improve the ankle articulation, but not the shoulder. Now you think when they do a reissue that they fix problems, and they have in the past. When it came to the bugs, they fixed some stuff with the bugs, which in my opinion, I don't even remember what it was, but whatever little stuff it was, it's in my video. But whatever it was, I didn't really think it was a big deal with the first run, because I had the first run, but I wanted to get a second run and a couple of different color iterations and stuff. But when it comes to Thomas, now I don't know about the reissue of the figure. I think the figure's fine. From what I hear, it's fine. Probably in the comments below, people are going to say that they had problems with the reissue Thomas. And that's probably what we're going to see. But what I'm seeing here is that they decided to leave out the stand. And that's kind of a plus and a minus. So people that were expecting a stand didn't get it. But they put the price point lower than they would have normally put the price point for a reissue, and just let you buy the stand separate. So it's going to be a separate order. The problem is, though, that it's still more expensive than the original release of Thomas. So with that, it's the reissues are becoming more expensive than they were before, and the mold itself is already paid for Wasn't that the highest expense? So it's coming out at $180 at Show Z, about $200 at some of these other retailers, and so that's kind of where the price point sits for this size of figure this day and age. So the next thing about the reissues is the fact that they're going up against their own designers that left. So is this a big part of the problem that we see with Fanstoys? Is the fact that they've lost some designers that have been around for a while, and they have rights, or they say they have rights, to these designs, and they're making them. And I'm going to go on record right now and say that every one of these quote-unquote KOs that are made are not as good as the official, but they're really darn close. So you really can't tell much of a difference. The main difference is the sheen and shine of the paint, but everything else seems to be pretty close. Sometimes the tolerances are a little bit looser on the KO versions. Well, we call them KO, alternate versions that are out there. But I want to say that I've pretty much ordered one of everything, and I'm still pretty excited for them. I still think they hold up really well. The next issue that I'm seeing when it comes to Fanstoys, and this is partially complaints, but it's more of I'll just pass on it. I already have a good one of that. I'm just going to pass on it. And this is what I see in my comments. I think I read every comment. I try to read every comment, and I need to at least click the button if I can't reply. I hate to click the button that I've read it, but not reply. That's kind of, I just don't like doing that. But anyway, so I read the comments, and I see people say they're going to pass on a lot of these because they have another option already, and they're mostly replacement items that are coming out. And so when you're putting out mostly replacement items, yes, if you're last, you got to be best, and a lot of times Fanstoys is the best. But are they that much better than what's already out? And so that's when you start to look at, if they are that much better and they're going to blow it out of the water, then they're going to sell really well. So kind of like you're seeing with their gears. Now, Bad Cubes, it's still a great figure. The Bad Cube is a great figure, but Fanstoys is going to take it to another level that we haven't seen yet for that character, and so some people will swap out. But I'm guessing at least half the people that have the Bad Cube are just going to stick with the Bad Cube. But we're seeing really good sales on this from some places selling out on it. And so with their version of gears, that's probably going to be one of their more successful ones that is a replacement item. And of course, when it comes to Scourge or the sweeps, I mean, those could be perceived as troop builders. And so it would make sense for someone that's already got the X-Transbots one and is happy with it to get this one and say, yeah, I'd like to have a couple on my shelf. And there's people that bought 3, 4, 6 of the X-Transbots ones that will have no problem buying a couple of these. And with that, I would expect this to sell well. But watch, 6 months after release, there'll still be plenty of in stock everywhere. And I'm not making this up. I'm not making this stuff up. These are screenshots of TF Source, because it's pretty easy to go there and catch a lot of stuff on the screen at once. But there's a lot of stuff still in stock at places. I could see that happening with quite a few of these upcoming releases. And why is it? I mean, seriously, why is it? Tell me in the comments below. So the next blow to Fanstoys, and I want to say TFCon Toronto made some people happy, but it really just made more people upset. And what I'm hearing is that Bandit is ready to go. It looks like it's ready to go. They probably could have put Bandit out a year ago, but they didn't, because they're going to put the combining parts with Bandit. And a lot of people are pretty much content with saying, hey, I don't care if it combines. I just want the figures. I'm going to have them in either alt mode or bot mode, and if it combines down the road, I'll get the combining parts. They could have done that. They chose not to, for whatever the reasons are, and I don't really know. But then we start to get these pictures, which I assumed were prototypes. But we don't really know if they were prototypes or they're still renders, and they're digitally inserting the actual figure on top of it. I mean, I don't know. No one really knows. I mean, if you zoomed in, you could probably tell the photoshopping that went on, but I'm not going that deep on it. But still, it's feeling like it's really far away to get their Minosaur combined. And I do want to say I'm glad they showed us something, but this is definitely a render. And this does feel super early on. And so I don't have confidence that this is going to be out even in 2024. And so with that, and I'm talking about this, and I personally just don't care. Like, I have 2 Minosaurs that are fine, that get the job done. And I like the looks of theirs. And I'm going to keep them in alt mode, believe it or not. But I don't really care if it takes them 10 years to get this out. But other people do. And other people are really, really irritated about this whole situation. And I understand. If you put all your chips on the table, you put your chips in the Fanstoys bucket, and it didn't pay off. And it still hasn't paid off. And it might be a while till it pays off for you to actually have it. And I can see people getting upset about this. And then this whole thing right here. So this is both Road King and the second trailer, and it does all this. It doesn't need to, in my opinion. Some people out there will get a kick out of it. I won't. Is this just a digital render? And is all of this because they lost the designers that actually had the plan, and they had to reverse engineer what was supposed to happen? I mean, how do you take those designs? You could just take them and pick up where they left off. And I do understand it's intricate, it's complex, and this has to work. You can't just put crap out and hope it works. So I understand how hard this is. I'm not trying to say this is an easy task, but is it because they lost designers? Is it because they weren't paying them? I mean, who knows? Now, I also think the Superion is a different story, because this should be way easier, right? You don't have a trailer. You're just gonna have a body, and you just plug your figures in. And this should have already been figured out from day one. And that's another thing. This should have been figured out before they released the first one, right? Because you're seeing a lot of these other companies that seem to have an idea of how their combiners are going to combine. X-Transbots and their trailer and their Minosaur was a crazy debacle, but it was better than what's going on here. But Superion, it's easy. Zeta did the best job with their Superion, start to finish. And now with this, we're not even going to get this in 2023. So I'm just curious, how hard would it be to put together sort of an endoskeleton or exoskeleton or whatever they're doing with this thing and just let it all clip together? Who knows? And I like to talk about the new stuff that's coming out. Stuff that they announce, things that they show. And then the comment is always, where's Blitzwing or Blitzkrieg, or I don't even know what they're calling it. Berserk? What are they calling it now? And so with that, it's been through some changes, some redesigns and all that kind of stuff. And so I do usually say that I would rather them take the time to get it right before they just put it out and it not work. And that's true. I would rather them take their time to get it right. And I'm not in a hurry for this, because now, since it's taken them so long, we've got other options that are out there. So I'm perfectly happy with what I've got going up on my shelf there. I got the Star Toys, and it works fine. But will this be better? Will it be good enough or a big enough improvement over Star Toys to want to put on your shelf? It'll have the die cast. It'll probably have better paint job. But is it worth the wait? So, I mean, this is the kind of stuff that frustrate people that are Fanstoys fanboys. And I think this might be where people lose the Fanstoys fanboy mentality, because, hey, the Star Toys come along and I'm perfectly fine with it. I don't need to spend $250 or whatever this is going to be when it comes out on this guy. And so that's how Fanstoys starts to lose some of these Fanstoys fanboys. Lastly, I'm curious about these KO companies that are, well, they're not really KO, but the ones that are making the same figures over and over. There's Lupus is supposed to be coming as sort of a knockoff kind of deal, kind of a fourth party type of version. And I'm curious how the quality is going to be on it. I'm curious if their production run is actually better and they have less issues than Fanstoys did with their Lupus. Then it would be quite interesting to see how that goes. And I do kind of look forward to reviewing and comparing the quote-unquote KO to the official. Not only are they making reissue figures, but they're making them in different colors and different interesting stuff that's going on out there. So I'm actually kind of looking forward to seeing what else they do, what other recolors of these molds they make. And it's pretty interesting. I think I've got a couple of these on the way. I'm going to take a look at them. But anyway, hope to check this orange one out, that's for sure. But not very many people sell them, because Fanstoys will flex their muscle and accuse or say they're not going to sell them official product if they sell these fourth party versions. So what do you think about Fanstoys? Are they falling from grace? Is this just the whole market shifting, or is there something else going on? Let me know in the comments below. Like and subscribe. Titanium hanger out.